Hi, everyone. Welcome to week 9 of our Composition 1 class. A quick note on your papers before I begin. I am getting close to being done with them. I think I maybe have 6 more left. My goal is to get those done by the end of today, but Monday is one of my busier days, so I may not get them back to you until sometime on Tuesday. But I am close to being done with those. This week, in week 9, you're going to start working on writing project 3, which asks you to explore a question through personal reflections and research. One tip that I have for you this week, try to spend some time really contemplating a research question. Try to find something that's truly interesting to you, not just something that you think will be easy to write about. In my experience, both as a writer and as a teacher, I think the best writing is when someone really cares about their topic, someone is really curious to learn more about it. I think that will make this whole process much easier for you. For task 9.1, you're going to be familiarizing yourself with the assignment sheet for writing project 3. You can find that in the writing projects tab over here on the left, right here. Also make sure to view the video that goes along with that assignment description. All of that should give you a pretty clear idea of what this project is going to entail. Next, you have some readings from the textbook. I'd like you to read the section Choosing a Topic, which is pages 172 through 173. And then I'd also like you to read the essay, Does Texting Affect Writing, which is pages 131 through 139. And then from the reading bank, I'd like you to read the article, Is Google Making Us Stupid? And you can find that here by following this link. These topics will help you think about a topic for Project 3 and will also form the basis of one of your discussion board posts this week. And a tip, you can look ahead at the Student Success Gallery for week 13 to take a look at some samples of writing Project 3 written by former students, just to get a good sense of the expectations of this project. For task 9.3, you're going to be making your Wednesday discussion post. What I'd like you to do is look more closely at the essays texting in Google. And in what ways do those pieces help you understand the genre you'll be writing in for writing Project 3? For example, what did you notice about those readings in terms of the writer's voice, their use of sources, the questions that they were presenting, as well as the answers that they were providing? Did either of those writers do things that you might want to try in your own writing? I'd like you to provide some specific examples. For task 9.4, I want you to think a little bit about possible questions that you might pursue for writing Project 3. The main thing you'll be doing in writing Project 3 is posing an interesting question and then finding an answer to that question through your research. Some things for you to remember about your question. It should be something that is interesting to you. It should be focused, so it shouldn't be too broad, but it also shouldn't be too narrow. In other words, you shouldn't write about something for which there's only one right answer. Anything that has just one clear answer is probably not going to be a good question for this project. Your question should have some sort of personal connection to your life. It should be a question that you are able to answer with the help of outside sources. And it should be something you haven't already answered or made up your mind about. So this should be something that you're not trying to prove something that you already think or feel. This is something that you honestly, earnestly want to learn more about. Something that, you don't already understand, something that you want to kind of challenge the way that you think or view the world. With these guidelines in mind, I want you to use one or both of the brainstorming activities below to help you come up with a question for writing project 3. You can do either of the activities or some combination of both. Whatever you do, I want you to produce a substantial amount of writing. So if you're only giving me a few sentences or just like a small paragraph, that's not going to cut it. I would aim for at least one full page of brainstorming. The first potential activity you can do is respond to some specific prompts. First of all, you go to pages 172 and 173 in your textbook, and you'd read the sections called Start with Roles in Your Life, Identify Issues that Interest You, and Frame Your Topic as a Problem. And then you'd write out responses to each of those sections and make sure that that is all being clearly labeled in your document. Next, you can think about topics related to your work in our course or another course. For example, maybe you wrote a personal piece earlier this semester about difficult situations you experienced in elementary school. Perhaps as a result, you've been wondering whether you should homeschool your own children. That is the basis for a research question. So look back over your own work in this course or other courses that you've taken recently and brainstorm a list of topics that might interest you for writing Project 3. Next, think about topics related to current events. So just anything going on in the world, things that you've seen talked about on social media or the news, things that your friends and family are talking about. Those could all be good things to research for this project. For number 4, think about topics related to a problem or issue you are experiencing in your personal life. Choosing an issue that you kind of have firsthand experience with is a great way to make sure that you are invested in the topic. I'm sure you all have various things going on in your lives that could make for an interesting research paper. You could also think about topics related to your own general interests or hobbies. And then for 6, think about all the topics you generated above and decide which one interests you the most at this point. Then fill out the following. So I want to study blank because I want to better understand blank. State your topic in the form of a question. For example, can you fill in one or more of the blanks below, or is there some other way you can state your question? So you can think of these as templates. By filling in these things, these are giving you some potential research questions. You don't necessarily need to come up with a question for each of these. These are kind of just guides for how your question might sound. So what is the relationship between blank and blank? How does blank affect blank? Why does blank affect blank? Why does blank cause blank? What causes blank? What causes blank in blank? And so on. And I'd like you to write 2 to 3 other or related questions your topic brings to mind. And then activity 2, and again, you don't have to do both. You can do activity 1 or activity 2 or some combination of both. Activity 2 is just a list of different pre-writing, planning, brainstorming strategies that are discussed in chapter 9 in your book, and you are welcome to use several of those in order to complete this brainstorming activity. For task 9.5, you're going to be making your Friday discussion post. After completing at least some of the topic generation activities, referring to task 9.4, post a couple of questions you came up with, preferably ones that you're really considering pursuing for your project, and explain why you're interested in those questions. Then read through your classmates' posts and write responses to at least 2 of them. Explain which questions you think are most promising and why. Also, as you read your peers' research questions, consider whether the questions meet the following guidelines. Do they seem to be genuinely interested in the question? Is the question focused but not too narrow? Does the question seem to have some sort of personal connection to their life? Is the question something that could be answered through the use of secondary sources, such as articles, things from newspapers, magazines, journals? And is the question something that the person hasn't already answered or made up their mind about? And if you'd like, you can also comment on your classmates' Wednesday posts. Did their posts help you see new things about the assigned reading, or do you have something else you'd like to comment on? And then lastly, you're just going to submit your work for this week by Sunday at 11:59. I'd like you to submit all of the writing that you did in response to task 9.4. That is all for this week. Let me know if you have any questions for me, if you need help with anything. I will be happy to help.